Every religion in human history has tried to answer one question. Why do we suffer? That single question has produced more philosophy, more literature, more art than any other problem in the entire history of human thought. Nietzsche wrestled with it. Dostoevsky built his life's work around it. The Buddha made it the foundation of everything he taught. Viktor Frankl sat inside a concentration camp and refused to stop asking it. And yet, most people today are still trying to do one thing with suffering: escape it. We live in the first era in human history that genuinely believes suffering can be eliminated. There is a pill for the pain, a distraction for the silence, an algorithm designed specifically to ensure you never have to sit alone with an uncomfortable thought for longer than 30 seconds. And people are more lost than they have ever been. That is not a coincidence, because what nobody tells you, what the modern world is desperately trying to hide from you, is that suffering is not the enemy. It is the material. Nietzsche wrote something that most people have heard, but almost nobody has actually understood. He said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." The modern world turned that into a gym poster. But Nietzsche was not talking about resilience in the motivational sense. He was making a much darker, much more serious observation. He was saying that the things which almost destroy you are the only things capable of fundamentally changing you. Not improving you, not motivating you, changing you at the structural level, at the level of who you actually are. Because comfort does not change people. Ease does not change people. A good day, a kind word, a moment of happiness. These things are necessary, but they do not forge anything. Only fire does that. Viktor Frankl spent 3 years in Nazi concentration camps. He watched people die. He lost almost everyone he loved. He was stripped of everything: his name, his possessions, his dignity, his future. And what he discovered in that darkness became one of the most important psychological insights of the 20th century. He discovered that suffering in itself does not break people. What breaks people is suffering without meaning. The moment a person can look at their pain and find a reason for it, not a comfortable reason, not a pretty reason, but any reason at all, something shifts. They do not stop hurting, but they stop being destroyed by it. Frankl called this the last of human freedoms. That no matter what is taken from you, your health, your relationships, your circumstances, your future, nobody can take away the way you choose to relate to what is happening to you. That is not optimism. That is something much harder and much more powerful than optimism. The Buddha began his entire philosophy with one sentence: life is suffering, not life contains suffering. Not suffering happens sometimes. Life is suffering. For thousands of years, people misread this as pessimism, as a reason to detach from the world and wait for it all to end. But that was never what he meant. He meant stop being surprised by it. Stop treating every difficult moment as an interruption to the life you were supposed to have. Stop acting as though pain is a malfunction, a mistake, something that should not be happening to you specifically. It is happening to everyone. It has always happened to everyone. It will always happen to everyone. The suffering is not the problem. Your war with the suffering is the problem. There is a version of suffering that destroys, and there is a version that builds. The difference is almost never about the intensity of the pain. Some of the most catastrophic, most devastating experiences in human history, produced the most formidable, most extraordinary human beings who ever lived. The difference is whether you go through it consciously. A person who suffers unconsciously, who numbs it, avoids it, outsources it, blames it entirely on the outside world, comes out the other side the same person they were before. Smaller, even. More afraid, more fragile. But a person who suffers consciously, who sits inside it, who asks what it is showing them, who refuses to look away from what it is revealing about themselves and the world. That person comes out the other side as someone new. Not healed, not fixed, forged. Dostoevsky believed that suffering was the price of consciousness. That the deeper your capacity to feel, the more clearly you see the world, the more honestly you engage with it, the more it is going to cost you. Most people sense this and quietly make a deal with themselves. They agree to feel less, to think less deeply, to stay on the surface of things where it is safer and warmer and where nobody asks too much of you. And they spend the rest of their lives wondering why everything feels slightly hollow, why nothing quite satisfies, why they are comfortable but not alive. The philosophy of suffering is not asking you to chase pain. It is not telling you that the harder your life is, the more noble you are. It is asking you to stop treating your suffering as something that is happening to you, and start treating it as something that is happening for you. Not because the universe is kind and everything happens for a reason, but because the only alternative, the path of avoidance, of numbness, of a life carefully constructed to feel as little discomfort as possible, leads somewhere far darker than the pain itself ever could. Every person you have ever looked at and thought, there is something different about them, something unshakable, something that has been tested and did not break. They did not get there by avoiding the fire. They got there by walking through it slowly, with their eyes open. The question is never whether suffering will find you. It always does. The question is what kind of person you decide to be while it is happening.